Hello, hello, hello. Hello, everyone. How you guys doing? You guys doing good? How'd the stream go? Tell me, guys. What's up? How you doing? Y'all good? How y'all feel? Oh, here we go. Just subscribe. This is Mark Stenson. Always see you with Armin. Appreciate you. Appreciate you for coming by and visiting us. We have treats. We have a lot of I just got someone helping me out to get some content over here. And you know what? I need the help. I need the help. I'm only a monkey and I'm just monkeying around. I really need some human help out there. I appreciate and love these lovely people. Yak yak baby. Yes, we're about to be yapping, Aaron. Yes. We are about to be yapping. I like to give everybody a little bit of time to get in here. A little bit of time to get acclimated. All right. So what's been going on with Ali Street? Tell me, how did that go? How what were Ali and Armin up to? I had to deal with some stuff over here. I wasn't really able to see a lot, so you guys can tell me, like what's the deal? What's been going on? You guys got any updates for me? Getting Price is saying hi everyone. Hey monkey. Hope everyone is doing well. I'm doing all right. It's been a busy day. Actually, I've had a terrible migraine almost all day. I'm gonna be real, but I'm feeling better now. Like now, my migraine has subsided, so I am feeling better. I am Marie says, "Hi, monkey. New to your channel. You're awesome. Well, you're also awesome. You're awesome as well. Thank you for coming. Oh, bananas. I love bananas, especially banana clips. Sing monkey business song. No, I don't know. I don't know the monkey business song. I know that there was a band long time ago that they had kind of a song. It was a California band. Like, hey, hey, we're the monkeys. And just love monkeying around. Something like that. I don't want to sing it too well. Might strike up the copyright with his, lovely dulcet tones of mine. Get on CBD. I think I know what that is. But I don't know if I want to do that. You know. Oh wait, not getting a little bit of ahead of myself. Now, as you saw, if you saw the thumbnail, you saw that it was about democracy versus communism. Now, this is just because we're in a constitutional democracy, but we are not a pure democracy. This is a misconception that's been going on for a while. So now we're going to reach the 10-minute mark, and I'm about to get into something that I want to talk about. This is a video that I've seen a lot. Like I've seen it over the years many times. Haven't seen it in a while though, but I want to get into it. Marie says, I hope and pray for the Iranian people. My heart goes out to innocent freedom fighters. Yes, yes. My heart does go out to them. TC gets you high, CBD, no. Okay, okay. I understand. I understand. I use what is known as Ranger candy, ibuprofen, and I'm a little afraid to make a hole in my stomach. Like I took like six, and then two more is like eight, and then two more after that. But it did. The pain is gone, subsided a little bit. Sometimes I'll take something called, oh my god, I forget the name. There's something that I take specifically for migraines, and I can't remember the name. Okay. We are a republic. Yes, we are. We're about to get into that. We're about to get into that. So here's the video about that.
A constitutional republic, not a democracy.
That's what we are. Constitutional republic, not a democracy. There's a very important distinction there, right?
The ideal of a democracy is universal equality. The ideal of a constitutional republic is individual liberty.
You see, in democracy, you have equality, and it's very general. In a republic, the individual matters more. Let me run that back.
A constitutional republic, not a democracy. The ideal of a democracy is universal equality. The ideal of a constitutional republic is individual liberty. A democracy always degenerates into dictatorship, which promises government-guaranteed equality and security, but it delivers nothing but poverty and serfdom for the people it robs and rules.
Okay, you see that? Like it's a promise. You promise equality under democracy, right? You know, just vote for me and I'll make everybody the same. But to make everybody the same, you got to smack down the ones that are over so you can give it to the ones that are under. Whatever the line is. You start flattening that line enough, it just becomes serfdom.
America was founded as a constitutional republic to safeguard the liberties of the people against the tyranny of democracy or of one-man dictatorship.
So this is very important here. Fury said, that's the name of the pills that I sometimes get for migraines. It's called Fury said. That has nothing to do with the subject, but it just popped into my head because that's the pill that, like, if I got to go to an emergency room, I just like, look, I need some Fury sets. I got a terrible migraine. I don't want to get high. I don't like psychotropics. I don't like opiates. I just want some Fury set to make this pain go away in my head. That's what I've done sometimes, and only under prescription, only given by a doctor. Of course, if you have a migraine, talk to your doctor about your situation. But that's one thing I take. Okay, back to the main subject. Like the founding fathers knew what a democracy was. That's why there are democratic processes in our constitutional republic. But because I put democracy versus communism in the title, kind of like as a general, kind of like bait, kind of like a, attention grabbing thumbnail, I want to clarify that I know the difference between a constitutional republic and a democracy. Let's run that back a little bit.
And rules. America was founded as a constitutional republic to safeguard the liberties of the people against the tyranny of democracy or of one-man dictatorship.
The tyranny of democracy. What about the tyranny of democracy? Oh my God. Well, it's the tyranny of the majority going against the minority. That's literally what a democracy is. Most people choose whatever is. Now, if you have a pure democracy, what does that mean? Well, most people can choose to enslave white people. If that's the majority, they can choose to enslave black people. If that's the majority, they can choose to enslave conservatives or enslave liberals, right? That's why you don't want the majority to have complete rule, because the majority could go nuts. You don't want that. That has been tried. Athens was like a pure democracy, and they were crazy. Like, they did a lot of crazy shit. And you look into the history, you're like, what the fuck is wrong with Athens? They did some wild stuff. Point being, the reason that there is a constitution, because the constitution safeguards the individual rights from the whims of the majority, right? Like, one of the things that the founding fathers did was genius, that they wrote a document that was kind of forward thinking, in that it knew that eventually all men would be recognized as equal. So it says we recognize that all men are created equal. It doesn't say white men. It doesn't say black men. It doesn't say brown men. It doesn't say anything about that. Anything about that. It says all men are created equal. Why? Because it left you a roadway into the future. It lets, look, you can use this argument later. Right now, we're working with what we're working with. We just got out of this relationship with this king guy who didn't let us have representation. So we want representation that recognizes our individual rights. So we came up with, they came up with, this was a long time ago, right? weird for us to take credit for it. We just recognize the genius in it, right? Okay, got something here in the chat. 13th Amendment, something to look at. Does anybody else know what the 13th Amendment is? Anyone? Anybody know? Hello, Amberly. Thanks for being with us. Anybody know what the 13th Amendment is? I'm going to let this play a little bit. Give you guys time to guess.
In this century, great strides have been made toward the goal of subverting our republic into a democracy.
Oh, here we go. Slavery. Now, does the 13th Amendment abolish slavery? Does anybody know if the 13th Amendment abolishes slavery? I am Marie. No, it does not.
The foremost tactic of the subverters is subversion of language. By calling America a democracy until people thoughtlessly accept and use the term.
You see, they want to train us to call it a democracy, but it's not. Nope, no. Okay, so some people know. Nope, not completely. Okay, Beach Kid, Amberly, Muhammad knows. All right. Who can you enslave? Who is it legal to enslave?
The totalitarians have obscured the real meaning of our principles of government. That is a summary of my report on a constitutional republic, not a democracy. The full report after a message from my sponsor.
All right. Prisoners. Yes, this is what the Hermit King calls turning big rocks into little rocks. Like some people, they're a burden to society. You can't have them among civilized society, so you make them work in a box. That's what you do with them. That's what you do. You take these prisoners and, oh, industrial prison complex is for profit, blah, 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 blah. I don't care. These people, if they're guilty, they're guilty. It is what it is. Oh, what if some innocents fall? Oh my God. Guess what? People, innocent people, they go to jail for murder every year. All over the world. It happens. It may be a small percentage, but innocent people go to jail for murder every year. What's the solution? Are we just going to stop prosecuting murder? Are we going to make it illegal? That's ridiculous, right? We have to understand that as humans, we're not perfect and there may be some faults in the system. So we're not going to make the law forget its duty to keep society safe. We're just going to continue to improve our system, right? We're only going to improve our system so that any innocence being in jail becomes harder to happen. We want to make it harder to have innocence in prison, right? And we want to make it easier to get innocents out. You want to be sure they're innocent, but they're innocent in jail. You want to be able to get them out, right? So that's, you work towards a greater good for everyone and not a greater good like in the Hot Fuzz movie. Those guys are weird, okay? You don't want to go too crazy with it. Just the greater good by assuring that the least amount of innocents are hurt, all right? And the least amount of innocents are hurt when you put the riffraff in jail.
A democracy is a political system in which the people periodically, by majority vote at the polls, select their rulers. The rulers then have absolute power to make whatever laws they please by majority vote among themselves.
You see that? Let's run that back.
A democracy is a political system in which the people periodically, by majority vote at the polls, select their rulers. The rulers then have absolute power to make whatever laws they please by majority vote among themselves. In a constitutional republic, the people also, by majority vote at the polls, select rulers, who make laws by majority vote among themselves. But the rulers cannot make any laws they please because the Constitution severely restricts their law.
You see that? You can't do whatever you want. Like you can have a whole bunch of candidates that say, I'm bringing back racial slavery. We're going to enslave white people. We're going to enslave black people, whatever the guy says, right? Like you could have a guy candidate, you could have a whole bunch of candidates, they can pick a president, they can do anything they want about that and try to pass some laws, right? But they can't just do it. Why? Because of the Constitution. The Constitution goes completely against that, right? It's a constitutional republic. Just because you got elected under a democratic vote doesn't mean you can do whatever the fuck you want. It's not allowed, right? When you take it to the Supreme Court, you're going to lose. When you take it to the you know, you could take it to the Congress, try to make an amendment, but it would move so slowly through the court system that it would take, I don't know, decades to get something like that passed. Like if we're that far down the line, we got bigger fish to fry. We got a big problem, right? So that's why we have a constitutional system that makes it very, very difficult to change an amendment, makes it very, very difficult to remove these basic constitutional rights.
Making power. The ideal of a democracy is universal equality. The ideal of a constitutional republic is individual liberty.
So here is the basic difference, right? An absolute democracy, right, wants equality. How do you get to equality? Like, no one is the same as anyone else. Everyone is a unique little snowflake, right? You have to hammer them down to make them all the same, right? You have to hammer the big nails down and pull up some of the short nails until they're all about the same, right? And statistically, there's going to be a lot less long nails than there are going to be short nails. So what's gonna happen? You're just gonna wind up all day hammering those big nails that are keeping a lot of things together, right? You're just gonna pull them out of where they're keeping things together, nailing them somewhere else in name of the government, and it just screws everything up. This is a bad carpentry analogy, but I think you guys get what I mean.
In this century, great strides have been made toward the goal of subverting our republic and transforming it into a democracy. The foremost tactic of the subverters is subversion of language. By calling America a democracy until people thoughtlessly accept and use the term, totalitarians have obscured the real meaning of American principles of government. Note the following passages from a recent article distributed by the New York Times News Service. Quote, "In the United States and in other leading democracies, recent years have seen perceptible growth in executive authority."
So, growth in executive authority. What does that mean? That means the kind of executive authority that you have when you declare sanctuary state, sanctuary city. That's the kind of executive authority that you're exercising without considering the individual liberties of people, right? Because if people have the individual liberty to be represented at the polls and you're going to take it away by using equality to bring in a whole bunch of people that aren't supposed to be there, what you're going to do is you're going to disenfranchise people, right? With this claim of equality and this executive grab of power over a local community, what you're doing is you're claiming you care about this black community, but you're flooding it with illegal immigrants. You're giving them the ability to vote without an ID, and you're disenfranchising them. Like, most of these people aren't going to, they're not going to the Hamptons. They're going to the Bronx, right? They're going to Chirac. They're going to LA. So who's getting disenfranchised? It's the black people. It's the Latinos that they claim to protect. That's who's getting disenfranchised. A lot of whom switched to Trump, which scared the bejesus out of them, which is why Biden opened the floodgates. Right? But you know what? Let's get back to the video.
Society becomes more equalitarian. It tends increasingly to concentrate absolute power in the hands of one single man. This is a voluntary surrender of a free people escaping from freedom to one autocratic master.
So what happens? What these people do in these cities is they also take away the power from the citizens and they give it to people in the executive and in the judicial. Like we'll have judges that they're not working for the individual rights of the people to be free of crime, right? In the name of equality, they let these criminals go. So who profits there? Well, if you are a politician and your main concern is a constituency that's dependent on you, well, the poorest in that city will be dependent on you because crime creates poverty. Poverty doesn't create crime. Just because people are poor doesn't mean they steal. But if you allow theft, the people in the area where theft is allowed become poor. Why are you saying that? What does this mean? Okay, let's say you have five family businesses. You have a bakery, you have a small grocery store. These are family businesses, bakery, grocery store. Like it could have 20 employees each, let's say. A bakery, you have a grocery store, you have a mechanics workshop, you have, let me think, laundromat, you have one more laundromat, and you have a daycare. Family business, all five. What happens when you allow criminality? Well, when you allow criminality, those businesses are going to want to move away, right? So let's say the first place to go is a mechanic shop, right? They want to get out of there because they're having a break in. Their tools are getting stolen, so the guy just sells it or boards it up and leaves. All right, who's going to come in? Well, AutoZone might buy that place, and they can afford to lose some tools. They can afford whatever they want, right? Because they're a big multi-state corporation, maybe multinational, so they can afford it. It's great for them because they just eliminated competition in the area, right? But for that small business is lost. Those jobs are lost. And you know what? AutoZone may buy the lot, but not actually open for years, right? Okay, so what else do we have? We have four left. All right, what are you doing? Well, in the name of equality, you take away shoplifting felony status. Oh, what's going on now? So all the jobs that's 20 jobs lost at that mechanic shop. Now at that grocery store, you've allowed the decriminalization of theft because you said that shoplifting is not a felony anymore. So the police won't even bother. So your little grocery store has been shoplifted out of existence, and those other 20 jobs are lost. Those families, it was a small business. They were making a decent living, but maybe they don't even have enough money to move out. So what you do is you already have 40 employees, 20 from the mechanic shop, 20 from the grocery store, that they're right now on not on welfare, on unemployment. Okay, more businesses moving out and more unemployment. All right, so who can afford this? Walmart can afford it, but Walmart might not put a store there for a long time. They'll just buy out the lot. All right, so we got three left. What's left? The bakery store. Okay, in the name of equality, you're going to raise the minimum wage, right? Everybody who was there was willing to work there, been working there happily for a long time. But in the name of equality, now you have to either cut these people's hours and make them work for less money, or you have to cut staff. So let's say these people stick around, but they're going to have to cut employees by 10. So now you lost 40 at the mechanic, you lost 20 at the mechanics, lost 20 at the grocery store, and you've lost 10 at the bakery. Right? You see how this goes? Now that's 50 families on unemployment. And soon they're going to run out of unemployment and they don't got enough money to move. Right? So what stores do we have left? let me see. We had the laundromat, right? So the laundromat, you have people at the laundromat. You had a culture in the community where people would take care of the machines, right? They take care of the machines because everybody was using it. It was a community thing, right? But what's going on is because there's this criminal culture and the police aren't doing their jobs, well, it's getting vandalized, right? And the employees that used to be at the laundromat, like just watching the machines, that kind of thing, and making sure that everything was in order, or well, you lost them, and the owner's gonna say, "Fuck this! I'm moving my machines before more of them get destroyed." Okay, this is funny. This is funny. The laundromat will be fine. The criminals will use it to wash cash. That's not how money laundering works, but that is funny. Thank you, Elog. That's kind of funny. Okay. So so basically what you're seeing is it's a vicious cycle of dependence. Like, okay, you've lost your unemployment, but this new mayor says, I'm gonna extend unemployment benefits for so and so long. Bam. You got 50, 70 votes right there. You understand what I'm saying? This is how the search for equality creates poverty by allowing the mayor and the judges that get chosen to have this vicious cycle of people depending on the government. This is how places stay blue. They keep you dependent. They keep you so you can't move. You can't even consider moving, right? And while you're stuck at public school, and public school is going to indoctrinate your children into this dependence ideology and this victim mentality. I had one more store. I don't remember what it was. It was a bakery, laundromat. I can't remember what the other ones is, but whatever the other one is, you regulate it so that the regulations are so expensive to adjust to that they don't have the money to switch their business to the new regulation. Oh, let's say a car wash. You had a car wash, but now the machines have to use a special soap. You have to change the way they spread it. It's using too much money. Oh, a daycare. Yes, the daycare. I remember now. At daycare, right? You have to train the staff a certain way. They have to. You have to allow drag queen story hour, and the daycare says, "No, I'm not doing that." And the daycare, it talks to the parents, "Hey, man, they want me to do this shit," and the parents are like, "Look, I'm taking my kid out. I'm not allowing that." Right? He said, "No, well, you know what? We're not renewing your license because you're not apt to code with these diversity standards. So you're losing your license. Without the license, you got no insurance. Without the insurance, bam, daycare is gone. Now the people that did have work have nowhere to care for their children. So this is how crime creates poverty, and government loves crime, at least leftist governments, because it gives them votes." Yeah, did I kind of explain that okay? I went roundabout a long ways, but you guys get what I'm saying, right? It made sense, right? I'm hoping it did.
End quote. And note the following from Gunnar Myrdal's An American Dilemma, quote, "In America, liberty often provided an opportunity for the stronger to rob the weaker.
You see that?
Against this, the equalitarianism in the American creed has been persistently revolting. And in the conflict between equality and liberty, equality is slowly winning. In America, conservatism has to a great extent been perverted into a cult of the Constitution. This is unfortunate since the Constitution is in many respects impractical and ill-suited for modern conditions."
You see how they use equality to go against the Constitution, because the Constitution defends the individual right, and the individual right is what stands with between them and their power to have tyranny.
The worship of the Constitution is also a most flagrant violation of the American creed. The Constitutional Convention was nearly a plot against
American creed. They're making up an American creed. And they've been making up American creeds forever. Like, oh, isn't this a land of immigrants? No, motherfucker. No. This is some new shit.
the common people, end quote. Now, Gunnar Myrdal, a Swedish socialist, was hired by the Carnegie Corporation of New York in 1937 to direct a study of the Negro in the United States.
See where this is going?
He engaged a large staff, some of them communists and pro-communists. An American Dilemma resulted, first copyrighted in the United States in 1944.
In 1944,
In 1954, the Supreme Court handed down its school segregation decision, which deliberately violated the Constitution, reversed a previous Supreme Court decision, and lit a fuse touching off explosive violence, which has been shattering our society ever since.
Yes. Segregation is anti-constitutional.
The court cited an American Dilemma as one of the modern authorities on which it relied in preference to the Constitution for
It preferred American Dilemma to the Constitution.
Justification of its decision. An American Dilemma, written by a Swedish socialist, provided a basic rationale for the conversion of our free republic into an equalitarian democracy. Myrdal contends that the American Declaration of Independence, 1776, proclaimed the ideal of an equalitarian democracy because it contains the phrase, all men are created equal. 11 years later, the Constitution created not a democracy founded on the ideal of equality, but a republic founded on the ideal of liberty. This is why Myrdal says the Constitutional Convention was nearly a plot against the common people. But he and those who parrot his...
Okay, I want to remind you guys of something. Democrats were behind segregation. Democrats law. This is why. Why would they do this? What's going on here? It's because Democrats were always the ones that lost the Civil War. Democrats were always the ones that were for segregation. When these communists cited that, they're saying, hey, those people freely elected to have this segregation thing. Democrats were the power. They had the clam bake. Like, this is all this segregation shit comes from the Democrats. Like, because this is an old video, like, he hasn't seen the Democrats shift into like, no, this is for your good. We're doing it for you. We're segregating you for your own good. But they're still for segregation. Like, if you watch the Shoe On Head video, which is I really recommend. Shoe On Head is great. She's wonderful. If you watch her video, she goes over the Anthony. Oh, I forgot the guy's name. The guy who stabbed another kid in the heart in a track meet. So they go to that trial and they're saying, "Oh, that would have never happened if the kid was in a black school." Like people like actually these socialists and communists. And these are black people, right? These are supposed to be my people, right? Screaming for segregation, that they want like black only schools. This is ridiculous. This is what they call horseshoe theory. This is just taking the mask off.
Ideas are either ignorant or dishonest. The Constitution was ordained specifically to safeguard the principles of liberty proclaimed by the Declaration of Independence. The Declaration's phrase, all men are created equal, means that men are equal before the law and before the Creator, regardless of their inequality in human society. The Declaration says that men are endowed with unalienable rights, and that the purpose of government is to secure these rights. The unalienable rights of man enumerated in the Declaration of Independence do not include equality.
Exactly. You don't have a right to be equal to your neighbor. You don't have a right to be equal to Elon Musk. That's not a right. You have the right to free speech. You have the right to bear arms. There's no right that says, oh, you have the right to be as rich as the richest man or have the same stuff. No, that's not a right.
but they do include liberty, along with life and pursuit of happiness.
Pursuit of happiness, not a guarantee of happiness. Anthony stabbed Metcalf. That's right. Okay. 1422 ask people who grew up in communist countries. I have. You have no human rights. One thing was the government can make you disappear at any time for any reason they want. Yes, I have heard this, and it's been proven and documented that that is absolutely true.
Equality of all men in the eyes of God and before the law is a condition essential to freedom, but no other kind of equality is possible.
Equality before the law, not before the bank. Before the law. Not before the hospital. For the law. Like at an emergency room, I guess, but that doesn't mean you get your free, liposuction.
Government efforts to achieve material equality will produce crushing tyranny, but will not make people equal. The writers of the Constitution...
Oh, so you know who this is. Okay, we got a connoisseur here. Inquisitor Magnus says, Dan Smoot explains succinctly how the 14th Amendment was legitimately appended or amended. Appended. Let me see if the P is next to the M. No, appended. To the Constitution. Dan Smoot, number 3. I'm just gonna, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna take a screenshot of this little just of this chat. Got it. So I can check that out later. So I can look at that episode. Maybe we'll review it together. The 14th Amendment and birthright citizenship. Okay, so he been talking about this shit.
Were anxious to safeguard liberty against dictatorship, monarchy they called it. But their chief anxiety was to protect the country against democracy. Edmund Randolph, delegate to the Constitutional Convention from Virginia, said the general object of the convention was to provide a cure for the follies and fury of democracy.
You guys hear that? Let me run that back.
Edmund Randolph, delegate to the Constitutional Convention from Virginia, said the general object of the convention was to provide a cure for the follies and fury of democracy. Elbridge Gerry and Roger Sherman, delegates from Massachusetts and Connecticut, urged the Constitutional Convention to create a system to eliminate the evils that flow from the excess of democracy. Alexander Hamilton, delegate from New York, said, "We are now forming a Republican government. Real liberty is not found in democracy. If we incline too much to democracy, we shall soon shoot into a monarchy."
Yep, that's right. That's absolutely right.
John Adams, one of the giants of the American Revolutionary period, said, "Democracy will envy all, contend with all, endeavor to pull down all. And when by chance it happens to get the upper hand for a short time, democracy will be revengeful, bloody, and cruel." Speaking of pure democracy, in which the people by majority vote act as their own lawmakers.
This is the super dangerous one.
Instead of electing representatives to make laws, James Madison said, "Such democracies have ever been incompatible with personal security or the rights of property. A republic promises the cure for which we are seeking." Madison, known as the father of the Constitution, knew and said that enlightened men will not always be at the helm of government to serve as proper guardians of the public weal.
You hear that? Like, you're going to have some crazy people in charge. You're going to have some bad people in charge. Shit happens. That's why you need a safeguard in the Constitution.
He knew that unlimited political power cannot safely be entrusted to the nation's elected representatives to use as a majority of them see fit, because, he said, a majority of a group of men is far more likely to be tyrannical than one man is.
You see? That's why you safeguard the individual right. Let's go back.
Representatives to use as a majority of them see fit, because, he said, a majority knew at the helm of God of the Constitution knew and said that enlightened men will not always be at the helm of government to serve as proper guardians of the public weal. He knew that unlimited political power cannot safely be entrusted to the nation's elected representatives to use as a majority of them see fit because, he said, a majority of a group of men is far more likely to be tyrannical than one man is. In a democracy, if a majority should develop hatred for all blue-eyed babies and order them eliminated, the babies could be legally executed because whatever a majority wants at any given moment is supreme law of the land.
Funny how that is now a real fear. I assure you that that would have been a crazy claim when this video was recorded. But funny how right he was. How they want us and they indoctrinate us, they push us, they poke us, they prod us, they create insecurities in us to try to make us hate white people. I refuse to hate white people. And you should refuse to hate white people. And if you are a white person, you should refuse to hate your skin.
In a democracy, how can liberty be safeguarded against the mindless, soulless tyranny of majority rule when government is founded on the principle of majority rule? Jefferson answered that one. In questions of power, let no more be heard of confidence in man, but bind him down from mischief by the chains of the Constitution. In short, America was founded not as a democracy, but as a
I'm going to just leave it like that for our Persian friends.
Constitutional republic. We pledge allegiance to the republic for which our flag stands, not to a democracy.
We pledge our allegiance to a republic. Remember that, guys.
The Constitution requires a republican form of government for all states, but does not mention democracy, and neither does the Declaration of Independence or the Bill of Rights.
The Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights, none of that mentions democracy. None of it.
The Constitution is a binding contract, enumerating limited powers which the federal government can legally exercise, prohibiting it from exercising any powers not granted in the contract. It denies federal officials the power to do whatever they claim to be necessary for the general welfare. Federal action not...
Wait, isn't... Okay, so we got some comments here. We live in a bomba clot system. Isn't that like period blood? Isn't that like a blood clot from from like, you know, menstruation? Okay, so it's a maxi pad. It's basically a maxi pad. Calling people you know, tampons. A bomba clot. This is like tampons. We live in a tampon world. It best describes our government. Yeah. It could be. Look, we're getting off track here, okay? Lot of mercy.
Clearly authorized by the Constitution is illegal, even if approved by an overwhelming majority of the people, because all the elastic powers of government are left with the states. Ultimate power to change the organic structure of government.
Let me see. I agree. Anybody as much power as the Rothschild family or absent media is suspicious, but it doesn't seem to mean average views. Yeah. Like this is like, yeah, you have some leftist rich people, like that represents all Jewish people. Like those people don't believe in Judaism, they don't believe in God, they don't believe in any of that stuff. How does that represent Judaism? Just because of their blood? That doesn't make any sense. George Soros is a Jewish by blood, but he hates Jewish people. Like the thing about Jewishness is that it's both a religion and you know, a genetic trait, right? So you could trace it in the genetics, or you could trace it through like the religion. So they don't make a distinction. Like when there's a Jewish person that's very conservative and very oh my God, there's this bald guy in the government. I forget his name. He's great, but he's Jewish. But you never credit Judaism for that guy. You always blame Judaism for George Soros, godless commie. You understand what I'm saying? Like there's always this double standard where it doesn't matter. Like if it's a Jew by blood, you always Stephen Miller. That love that guy. So if it's a Jewish person by blood, not religion, you never notice when they're doing something good. Always notice when they're doing something bad and blame the Jews, right? And if it's a person that's just, you know, religiously Jewish, right? You always notice when they're doing something bad. Never notice when they're doing something good and blame the Jews. So this double standard, I think, is ridiculous. Like we have a problem with Marxism. So there's Jewish people on the left, there's Jewish people on the right. My problem is with the Marxists, not with the Jewish. We have that in Christianity. We have it in atheism. We have it in every religion. We have it in every nation. We have it in every race. We have it in every profession. Anybody that tells you no, the problem is the race, the problem is the profession. Oh, it's actors. Actors are the problem. No, it's Marxism. Oh, it's black people, it's white people, it's Latinos, it's Muslim. No. It's Marxism and Islamo Marxism, which I mean, I would say like the prototype for Marxism is Islam, right? But you know, it goes back to feudalism, right? So it's like the lack of individual rights, and that's a religion against individual rights. So Stephen Miller, y'all know what I mean. Point is, the problem is Marxism. There's Christians on the left, there's Christians on the right. Am I going to say Christians are the problem? No, it's Marxism. It's collectivism, right? If you go with Judaism and Christianity, it's a more individualistic religion. If you go with Islam, it's more of a collectivist religion, right? Like everyone has to agree with this faith. With Christianity and Judaism, it's like, hey, you believe what you want. It's very individual. They're not trying to make you. Like I've never seen like or you have to convert to Judaism. I've never seen that happen. Okay, this is interesting. I don't know if this is true, but you know what? Really, I had some good insight before. You know who Dan Smoot is, so you know you got my respect. Stephen Miller's own family publicly disowned him and said he betrayed Jewish heritage. Bullshit. Like that motherfucker has been on Israel's corner for a long time. If anything, his family betrayed Jewish heritage. Like, oh my God. I bet they're from New York. No, I'm kidding, New York. I'm kidding. I know you got your good side too. A lot of the good side moved out though. But that's the point. That's the larger point I'm trying to make. Let's get back to the video. I'm getting sidetracked.
Government was left with the people, but the means of making changes, amending the Constitution, were carefully prescribed to militate against hasty, unwise decisions by.
You see that? When the Constitution was made, it was made difficult to change with speed.
The people. As Benjamin Franklin left the State House in Philadelphia on the closing day of the Constitutional Convention, a woman asked him what kind of government the convention had given America. And Franklin replied, a republic.
Okay, Benjamin Franklin, when asked, what did we do? We made a republic.
If you can keep it. Very old and very wise, Franklin saw through the mists of time to the day when Americans might trade their freedom in a constitutional republic for the promise of government guaranteed equality and security in a democracy. And beyond that, to the day when democracy inevitably degenerates into dictatorship, guaranteeing nothing but poverty and serfdom for the people it robs and rules. The American constitutional system, unique in history, enabled Americans to develop a backward continent into the most magnificent nation of all time.
This is all very true. Like, I can't even say it any better. Let's roll it back.
to the day when democracy inevitably degenerates into dictatorship, guaranteeing nothing but poverty and serfdom for the people it robs and rules. The American constitutional system, unique in history, enabled Americans to develop a backward continent into the most magnificent nation of all time.
You see that? It's the Republic that did that. That was the advance. How did America advance so fast? So fast. Beyond developed nations. It's the system. It's the system that guarantees individual rights. It's the system that guarantees that ideas can compete. It's a system that safeguards against fast changes.
The system was designed to prevent both tyranny by government and reckless rebellion by the people. We must restore it and keep it. And what can you do toward that end? Your job, you who care and understand, is to help educate others. I suggest that you
help educate others.
You might find a subscription to my report helpful. The Dan Smoot report, on which these broadcasts are based, is sent every week through the mails and will reach you long before the broadcast does.
So here he goes into a mail-in that basically, it's not around anymore. You know what I'm talking about? Like we don't, it's been a while since this guy was out on TV. But this guy's name is Dan Smoot. You guys should check him out. I also want to give you guys, I'm not subscribed here yet. I want to give you guys a link to the channel. This is the channel. Where is this copy link? There we go. I want to give you guys a link to this channel so you guys can check him out. Camp Constitution. It's important to understand the Constitution. And frankly, I just really, I thought it was important. I thought it was an important discussion because of the thumbnail. I'm like, look, I said democracy, but I said I know we're not a democracy. So I really wanted to get into that because this is about American politics. And one of the greatest misconceptions in American politics is that we are a democracy. That is one of the greatest misconceptions. So I wanted to start there, kind of like bait you guys in with a democracy versus communism. Well, no, we're actually a republic. But if we're talking about democracy, let me see here. There's something else that I wanna check out. All right. Give me 1 second, guys. Give me 1 second. I'm looking for something very specific because it's kind of the title. So I want to talk about this. Oh, sorry. 1 second ago. 1 second ago. 1 second, please. All right. This is Benny Johnson. We're going to talk about Spencer Pratt. Spencer Pratt was one of the people that we put on the cover today, right? All right.
24 hours ago, Spencer Pratt dropped a thermonuclear bomb on the political landscape by posting a photo of him and President Trump in the Oval Office, staring each other down in deep conversation with the chief of staff to the entire executive branch there as well.
Okay, I don't think they were staring each other down. I think they were having a polite conversation. Calm down, Benny. Benny, you're not staring each other down. Trump looks kind of pleased. He doesn't look angry. I don't think they're staring each other down. I think that's probably an incorrect use of the term, but okay, Benny.
Along with his son, of course, his
You see, that's adorable.
Fighting motivation. Everybody wondered what could be going on here.
More volume? Oh, I don't know how I could make it louder.
What could they be talking about? And
Is that better?
now we know, ladies and gentlemen, Spencer Pratt just released what we've been waiting for.
Is that a
Proof
little louder?
of fraud in his.
Do you guys hear that better?
Mayoral race that was rigged and stolen.
Wait a minute. Let me see what's on that.
Fraud in his.
Okay, we may have to look at that video that he made. Bombshell photo unveils damning Lithuanian remnant linked to homeless voters. Interesting. Remember how we went, like, people who are new to the channel might not know, but you can check it out. One of, among our first videos, we went into the way Nick Shirley went over the fraud in California voter registry. Like, that's one of the videos we did. And I think also, oh my God, James O'Keefe covered some of this, and we went over that. And here, this is like a return to form. We're going over this again.
Mayoral race that was rigged and stolen from him. And it has gone thermonuclear viral, 48,000 likes, 8,000 reposts. Spencer Pratt has done it again. I didn't get cheated.
Look, thermonuclear viral is a stretch. I'm going to tell you what he means. What Benny is talking about, among people who are into politics, this is big. Okay? Because we are politically inclined, we see this as very big. It's not as viral as other things, but it is big. It is big, right?
You did. Here we go.
In judicial ethics, the mere appearance of potential fraud is disqualifying. Same goes here. Whether or not there is widespread fraud occurring, there certainly could be, and it doesn't matter how many times you scream, there's no widespread fraud. A lot of people believe there is, and there's no way to actually validate it. This isn't just about whether or not fraud is swinging the election. The appearance of fraud already is swinging the election. People rightly have zero faith in this janky, inefficient system. They feel like their vote isn't being counted. They feel like illegal ballots are being cast, and they're not wrong to worry about it. There's literally no safeguards in place to prevent that from happening, and way too many openings for it to occur on a massive scale. You all saw how I was neck and neck with Karen Basul.
I mean, this is all a good point. Like, the appearance of impropriety within a judicial system is very important. I think it's also very important within the election. But let's see where this goes.
But on election night, nearly double digits ahead of Nithya, just as the polling predicted.
Rahman fighting tears on election night, trailing Spencer Pratt by roughly 40,000 votes and about 10 percentage points.
I dominated the in-person vote. I smashed Nithya on the mail-in ballots, too. She was crying on election night. It was over. Then a few days later, suddenly Nithya.
Look at this. Look at this. You see that? You see that graph?
Nithya started overperforming.
You see that? Wow. Why does it take that long to vote, I wonder?
As they continued to accept ballots 7 days after the election.
7 days after the elections, they're still taking in ballots.
But days of county mail-in ballots have changed the map.
I'm so grateful.
Rahman has now erased a 40,000
suspicious as fuck
vote deficit and moved ahead of Pratt by roughly 3,000 votes, a net swing of more than 43,000 votes.
43,000 votes, which just
43,000 votes
happens to be the exact number of homeless people on the street.
Oh geez. Oh geez. You have 43,000 homeless, and suddenly you got 43,000 votes? Oh geez. What a coincidence.
Streets in LA. They assured everyone that this is normal because for some reason that they can't explain, Democrats overwhelmingly vote by mail.
There's a historical phenomenon in national voting called the Red Mirage.
The Red Mirage.
What we were calling a red mirage.
The Red Mirage.
Oh geez, a red mirage. Oh geez. Oh, it's just a coincidence. 43,000 homeless, which means they can't register to vote because they don't have a home that they can prove that that's where they reside. You can't, if you're homeless, you can't prove that you live in LA. You're homeless. You can't vote in LA. You're homeless. So that's literally not your home. But they just so happened 43,000 homeless, 43,000 votes.
Mirage. This term was coined because about some swing states count votes, usually favoring Republicans early. Then it becomes an advantage for Democrats later in the evening and then into the next morning.
You expect to see the Republican with a lead, but it's not really a lead.
Democrats vote in higher numbers by a mail-in ballot.
This did not happen before COVID.
Historically, Democrats vote.
So here's the falsity of this, right? Here is where this is fake. This was never a thing before COVID. Historically doesn't mean for the last 6 years. Historically means for the last 30 years, 40 years, at the minimum 20 years, not 6.
Vote in higher numbers by mail-in ballots.
But not all Democrats, just the ones who were voting for the third place candidate, the one candidate who really needed the votes. Don't forget, there were 2 Democrats in the race, but for some reason, only the third place Democrat who needed the votes saw a disproportionate spike in votes several days after the election.
That is very funny, right? So you got 2 Democrats, right? Democrat county, right? Okay. Why wasn't that vote split? Why would the homeless know who the hell Raman is and would not know Karen Bass? Shit, Karen Bass is an easy name to remember. Way easier to remember than whoever the other person was, the other lady.
Plus, multiple studies have shown that mail voting doesn't provide an advantage to either party. It's a myth. The media will say that claims of fraud here are without evidence. Keep in mind an anomalous
The media is leftist, like overwhelmingly leftist.
Statistical spike like this is evidence of fraud. Ask any forensic accountant. It may not be necessarily proof of fraud, but it is certainly evidence of.
That's an important distinction. So people say you have no proof. No, but I have evidence. Right? It's important. You get enough evidence, you got probable cause.
Of fraud. But forget the late ballots. Just because the vote swing coincidentally matched the specific Lhasa count of homeless people on the streets, just because NGOs that Nithya cuts checks to were hoarding ballots streets, just because
Nithya ramen noodles.
NGOs that Nithya cuts checks to were hoarding ballots just because hundreds of thousands of dead people and ex-presidents who.
Whoa, California leaving 870,000 plus dead. Relocated voters on the roll. What does that mean? 170,000 people who left California are staying in the voter roll. Oh, geez. So you got these names and you can get these homeless people to just sign these names? Interesting.
Left California were still on the voter rolls doesn't mean anyone is taking those loose ballots and filling them out. First off, it's against the law. And
it's against the law, and illegal immigrants wouldn't, break the law.
We all know if it's against the law, it doesn't happen.
Jesus Christ, what is this image?
Secondly, we have signature verification.
Was that O.J. Simpson?
Everyone has to sign their ballot, and a computer checks.
Look, if you're gonna cheat on a very strong, very tall football player, don't move into his house with your boyfriend, your new boyfriend, which you cheated on him with. Like, I don't think he's innocent, but I think that was a stupid move. Do I think he did it? Yes. Do I understand why? Yes. I don't think anyone should do that, but I get it.
It's your signature. Well, except some voters can't sign, so they carved out a rule where you can just make a mark.
Oh, you can't sign, so you can just make a mark, huh? Hmm. The woman human. Yes, we don't condone murder. We don't condone murder. Like, you can understand why someone killed someone and still think murder is wrong. What she should have done is said, fuck that hoe, man. I'm a fucking movie star. I'm a fucking ex-NFL player. I can get all the fuck pussy I want. Fuck that bitch. She took some money. That's all right. I'll make better movies. I'll be a superstar. You guys don't know, I was a naked gun. That's right. They call me the juice. That's what he should have done. But, his ego caused him some low self-esteem, right? Because like, ego can give you very low self-esteem. Because if you think, oh my God, what happened there is personal affront to me and my ego. So now my esteem is low and I must raise my esteem by doing something crazy. Yeah, his ego got the better of him. But I get it. I just wouldn't do that. I'd just fucking leave. He was abusive to her for years. Then she should have left. Why the fuck are you sticking around? Like, there's a lot of ridiculous stuff. Like, if you're in an abusive relationship, just fucking leave.
On the ballot, and a witness can sign on your behalf. It can be an X or a scribble or even a happy face, as long.
Okay, so he was abusing her, and she was so scared of him, right? She was so scared of him that she starts fucking someone else and then moves into his house with that guy. Come on. He had the pop. No. This is some lefty bullshit. I don't buy that at all. Fuck them both then.
As a witness signs off on it. And don't forget, once they separate the ballot from the envelope, there's zero way to trace it back to the ballot to check.
Maybe what happened was she was cheating, so she could keep the house. She made some claims of abuse, all right? The cheater made some claims of abuse, right? So she can keep one of the houses, whichever one of his houses it was, right? Because I remember this shit. Yeah, I'm pretty old. I remember this shit, right? And he goes batshit insane, right? And kills her and her new boyfriend. That's I think that might have played into it. Like, I don't buy it. This is a famous person. They're both famous. They both got money. I'm pretty sure she was famous too. And she could have just moved the fuck out and do whatever they got to work it out in court. If he was abusive for years, she should have left years ago. But she stuck around, got a new boyfriend. She's so scared that she has a new boyfriend, and then is in one of. I don't buy any of this.
Of a sudden tranche of votes that swung predominantly to one candidate.
Like, OJ is a retard. Like, he's proven himself to be a retard, because even after he got out of jail, he did more retarded things, which landed him back in jail.
Had come from a bunch of ballots with the happy faces in the signature box. The DSA instructs their ballot harvesters to go door to door and tell them to vote for Nithya Raman and even help them fill
You see that? That's illegal.
in the bubble for their preferred socialist candidates. This is explicitly illegal. A ballot harvester can't tell you how to vote, and they certainly can't help you fill out the ballot. But laws don't matter if you have no mechanism in place to prevent the crime from occurring in the first place.
What's going on here? Oh my God, this OJ. I don't give a fuck where she lives. Unless she's a fucking retard, she could move the fuck out if she is in some kind of danger. Like, I don't get how these people, oh, well, he's rich. I'm in danger, but he's rich, so I'm going to stick around. Fuck off.
There is this misnomer being parroted even by staunch critics of California's rigged voting system, saying there's nothing you can do because this is all legal in California.
Okay. Y'all going to make me chat. Okay, she took about a tenth of what he had and got, well, I mean, it's you got to adjust it for inflation, $10,000 a month for what do they call it when the woman leaves and she's got to be used to how it was, like that kind of money, right? So she made out well. He was stupid for going nuts about it. She should have left sooner. He should have dealt with it.
It's not legal. Even by California's own ridiculous laws, all this stuff is still illegal. They've simply removed all the mechanisms to catch the fraud and prevent it from happening. It's like a bank heist, but California has made a law that you can't
Alimony, that thing.
lock the bank vault. You're not allowed to have security cameras, and you can't count the money inside the vault. Robbing the bank is still 100% illegal, but there's no way to stop it from happening. Now here's the smoky backroom dealing. 5 days
Okay, let's see that.
before my election,
Because I think he said he had some evidence, right? He said he got like some evidence and shit, right? So I want to see what he got, because like they had already said, like, hey, I got some evidence. You know what happened to him? Like what happened was he had evidence. He says, I got you evidence. I got you recorded. You know what happened right after he said that? They burned his fucking office down.
Gavin Newsom signed a ridiculous law that literally banned federal and independent authorities from investigating vote fraud or overseeing elections to monitor for fraud during the counting process.
Bro, that's sus as fuck.
Why I'm moving forward with new legislation that would make it a felony to seize ballots before the vote has been certified by state and county officials. We will be the wall he cannot get past.
That's like banning the bank from having security cameras. Now, the timing of this was deliberate. He knows this won't hold up in court, but he did it so close to the election day, he knew the courts wouldn't be able to overturn it in time.
Oh, come on. He did not do it among a jury of his peers. That's the problem. They were his peers. That's the fucking problem. Like his peers later said, yeah, I thought he did it, but he's black, so I didn't want to joke. I didn't want to convict.
Time for the election. It's truly like going up against the casino. The deck is so stacked against you, you never really stand a chance. You can play if you choose, but the house will never lose. So now, in California, you can loot $950 of merchandise. You can knowingly infect someone with HIV, but if you try to prevent vote fraud,
You will be prosecuted.
how can you
You see that shit? You see that shit? You know how much an AIDS infected person needs the government? A lot. You can't afford that medicine.
secure the money if you can't lock the vault? How can you catch the robbers if you're not allowed to monitor the vault? And how can you even identify if the vault were even robbed in the first place if you can't even count the money? This is what California has done with elections. Unsolicited ballots going into open mailboxes and NGOs and parking lots. Bank vault is wide open. No signature required, no ID required, no way to ID the robbers. And the beauty of their rigged system is they can have all the pageantry of this public ballot counting center. Hey, come on down. It's open to the public. Anyone can come watch so you can see just how kosher our system is.
Oh, yes, they did. Oh, yes, they did burn his office down, Kelly.
We are inside LA County's massive ballot processing center when Assistant United States Attorney arrived on scene to observe the process and ask questions.
All the fraud that does occur happens long before the ballots even hit this building. People have been pushing me to demand a recount. Why? You could recount these anonymous ballots 100 times. You'll get the same exact result. I have no doubt that they are doing a flawless job of accurately counting every single ballot in here with robotic precision. The fraud isn't here. It's here on Skid Row, where homeless people are paid a couple bucks.
Bro, this motherfucker is on point. I love this guy. Oh my fucking God. Look, let me give props to Benny Johnson for putting this out here, because he's basically just, you know, putting it out there for people to understand. But this motherfucker is on point
For their ballots.
They give you $2 to vote?
Yeah, we can speak. We show something.
Did they come down here and try and pay you to vote?
Yes.
They told you who to vote for?
Since I'm voting your way, can I get a plate? You know what I mean?
It's here where socialist street animals go door to door and violate the ballot harvesting laws. People bring up the old communist adage often attributed to Stalin saying, it's not who votes that counts, it's who counts the votes. No.
It's there you go.
This is the modern era of fraud. They've gotten wise. The modern communist agrees with the old communist, but just the first part. It doesn't matter who votes. It doesn't matter if it's a drug zombie being paid for their ballot. It doesn't matter if it's a DSA socialist street animal filling out your ballot. It doesn't matter if it's a blue-haired intern at a Nithya Raman-funded NGO filling out the ballots. The bank vault is wide open.
Bro, I love these visuals. Take a look at that. I love these visuals. You see, here's the thing. This guy, I think he used to be an actor or something. Like, he used to be in the business. I don't know exactly what part of the business, but he used to be in the business, right? And he knows how to, like, fucking sell it. This is exquisite.
Intern at a Nithya Raman-funded NGO filling out the ballots. The bank vault is wide open. The cameras have been removed, and there's no way to count the money. Now, for those of you who wanted me to fight the election, for those of you who thought I was quitting, or I was bought off to step aside and quietly disappear, I'll remind you, there's a smart way to handle these things and a dumb way. Evidence is...
Yeah, like I understand why, like, he's explaining to people, is like, hey, why didn't you ask for a raid count? Did you quit? What's going on? So he has to explain this because a lot of people don't understand. They don't know about this fraud. Maybe they don't even got the time to look at these videos, right? So like they may be pissed because shit didn't happen, right? But like with this video, it's like, okay, if you're pissed, maybe you're gonna look at this, or maybe you're gonna see clips of this and understand it, right? So I understand why he's doing this shit.
It's not proof. I don't say things without proof. Now, anyone saying that there's no evidence of fraud is lying. There's tons of evidence, and I was the one who got it. All those videos that you saw of homeless people admitting that they were paid for their vote.
Yeah, he does have a lot of evidence. So I want to look at what you guys are saying. Marie says he's on point. Taking advantage of minorities in California instead of helping them out. Okay, so here's the thing. Like, we're getting disenfranchised. It's not just here. All right, when I talk about like the Democrats being the roots, the trunk, the branches, and the leaves of systemic racism, I'm not fucking kidding. What these Democrats did when Latinos and Black people started voting for Trump, they opened the floodgates, took these illegal people, found everywhere where things were changing, turned it into a sanctuary city, sanctuary county, stuffed it full of illegals, and made laws against showing ID. Oh, they're going to try to flip it. That's why I'm telling everybody, hey, in the U.S. elections, in the midterms, you have to make it too big to rig, because I guarantee you they're rigging it. I'm glad that this primary is showing it, because I hope this will instill safeguards everywhere. I'm worried about the rhinos that get, are a little too cozy with the left. I'm worried about purple states where they might just go along to get along. But this is a problem. We're getting disenfranchised. And this just goes to prove that they never cared about Black people, because these illegal immigrants are disenfranchising Black people. They never cared about Latinos, because these illegal voters are disenfranchising Latinos. They don't give a fuck about us, right? Like there's a lot of like Black people, Latinos that want to, just like Italians, just like the Irish, they came to America, but they're not all about, Ireland. They're not all about Italy. They're about America. Like, they got their culture, but they love their citizenship. They want the betterment of this country. They may feel for Italy. They may send help if there's a disaster or some shit. May even go over there and like pull people out of the rubble if there's some disaster in Ireland or Italy. Like, they'll fucking do it. Like, they're down for the cause, but they understand they gotta better what they live and want what's best for what they live, right? For the place they live. These motherfucking illegals, they don't give a shit. They're not part of the culture. They don't want to be part of the culture. They're disenfranchising, the locals and taking advantage of our communities. Disenfranchising us. They're not taking white people's votes. They're taking Black people's votes. They're not taking white people's votes. I mean, sure, in some places they are, but mostly they're taking Black and Latino votes because we dared to be conservative.
Where do you think they came from? Immediately after the big spike of votes came in for Nithya, I sent my team down to Skid Row to collect evidence. We were warned by some very well-connected people that this was happening, so we acted on it immediately. But if you want to end this fraud, doing protests and bitching about stolen elections won't get you anything. You need the fraudsters to start catching charges. For that to happen, you need proof. That's what investigators do. They turn evidence into proof with a robust investigation. You think it's a coincidence that 20 FBI agents suddenly descended on Skid Row to investigate vote fraud? Why do you think they were there? You don't get evidence by going to rallies or storming the ballot processing center. You get evidence by doing real work. And the first rule of criminal investigation is you do not talk about it. Here's the reality. It's too late for my campaign. A lot of people refuse to accept that, but I can. I told you all to get your ass out and vote. Tell your friends to vote. Vote enough to beat the cheat. We didn't beat it, but that doesn't mean I quit. I don't know how to quit.
He never knew when to quit.
My goal isn't to try and salvage the campaign, just like my advocacy in the wake of the Palisades fire wasn't about my own home. It's too late for me. This is about you. This is about the next one. It's about exposing this corrupt, rigged system and changing it for the next election. If I have to be the kamikaze pilot to finally get this fixed, so be it. There's a right way and a wrong way to do this. The right way isn't easy, but it ends with commie animals and handcuffs. I will restore faith in our elections if it's the last thing I do. And to all you fraudsters out there, we've been watching you, and justice is coming.
The messaging here is just pitch perfect.
You know what? I want to thank Benny for this. I gotta give Spencer Pratt his flowers. So we're gonna be looking at Spencer Pratt at his X account. I don't know that he has a YouTube, but we're gonna look at his X account. But I want to thank Benny Johnson for giving him his flowers, getting him out there.
Have to prove the fraud. They make it impossible to
look at this, a happy face. This is the signature. This is a happy face that they counted as a signature.
Prove. You need to prove the systems are fraudulent. And again, we sound like a broken record here, but 7 months ago, we went out to LA and showed the homeless industrial complex rigging elections. We laid this all out, how they would.
I don't want to play the whole video. I wanted to give you guys a chance to check them out. So here's the video by Benny. I'm going to put it here for you guys to check out in the chat. All right. We're going to also go here to Spencer Pratt. Let me look at his post over here. We got a video here by him. So we're going to go to his Twitter. All right. And here he appears to be talking. When you let communists run your city, you let communists ruin your city. And let's see what this lady's saying.
Absolutely. With so much production leaving the United States, it absolutely has affected my business a lot. I have definitely seen a pretty serious decrease in the amount of rentals that we've done over the past 3 years.
History for Hire Prop House, which was founded in the 80s, had to lay off workers and cut hours in the last few years, after decades of working on some of the most iconic films.
Okay, I got to have a little pushback here. Yeah, it is communism, but not always in the way you think, all right? So here's the problem. Communist writing sucks. Oh my God, they've ruined Marvel. They've ruined Game of Thrones. These writers suck. They make every franchise collapse. It's terrible. It's horrible. I don't even want to know what to say.
Cameras were used on Anchorman. We did Forrest Gump. These go back to everything from Mad Men to Bonnie and Clyde.
Okay, you guys know what this is? You guys probably know, right? You guys ever seen phones like this? See that thing that's got that little circular thing? You guys know what that is? I used to have this phone. You guys ever have this phone? You guys ever own one of these? You know what this is?
Back to everything from Mad Men to Bonnie and Clyde.
They don't work anymore. I don't think they do.
Ryan Gosling's piano stool for a lot.
Some of you
History
remember.
for Hire is now sending a lot more of their products to sets overseas instead of to sets in LA.
Rotary phones. Yes, Jennifer knows. Jenny Price knows too. Jen knows what's up. Like, yeah. Grant knows. Like, man, sometimes they get so rough you have to use a pencil Could hurt your finger if you're dialing a lot. Like you got to call a lot of people, give them like, oh man, let me use a pencil. Let me use something.
But I am never going to rent as many props to another country as I would be as if that show was here. Because so much of the rentals are, they've dressed the set, they've looked at it, the director has an idea. Let's add another 200 feet of product. Let's add something different. That ability to be spontaneous is going to be lost because I can't overnight something to Singapore.
Pam's props are traveling to the places taking productions away from Los Angeles.
That's the problem, that these people, oh, if I just increase taxes, we'll make more money. No, if you increase taxes, business goes away. And now the people that have to deal with it are left without a job, without being able to hire other people. People don't they don't
We
understand.
sent these to London. I've also sent these to Canada. We also did A Complete Unknown about Bob Dylan with Timothée Chalamet, which was in New Jersey. I shipped a bunch to Japan. I've shipped them to Europe. Iceland, probably to Budapest for Siegfried and Roy. When we did Elvis with Baz Luhrmann, our props went to Australia. I would say this.
Okay, so the larger point here, which Spencer Pratt is making, is that these commies are what's ruining your fucking business, especially the writers. There should have been a writers' strike against. There should have been a Hollywood strike against the writers, not for them. I want to see. DSA destroying societies altogether.
This is according to a source inside the DSA.
Yeah, but the main point is that there was this massive talking point.
Who is representing people?
Eliminating the UN Senate and replacing the president with a Supreme Court, with executive judiciary chosen by subordinate Congress, amnesty for all immigrants, defunding the Department of War.
Of America on the Hill. They want to eliminate the U.S. Senate. They want to replace the president and the U.S. Supreme Court with an executive and judiciary chosen by a subordinate to Congress. They want amnesty for all immigrants. And they want to defund.
What does that second one even mean?
The Department of War.
This is according to a source inside the DSA.
Yeah, but the main point is that there was this massive talking point that this is just liberal states and, liberal districts where this has happened. I'm sorry. This is happening all across the country. And they have some platforms that a lot of young people and a lot of people that have grievances with the rich are going with. It's anti-American, it's anti-Jew, it's anti-Israel, it's anti the foundation of how this country was built. They believe that our country is deeply flawed, and they're winning. So you got to have a Republican Party that speaks truth to power on all of it. They don't even want the police. They don't want any borders. One candidate said, I don't care if they committed a crime and they're a legal immigrant. You still should not be able to deport them. So
that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. These people hate America. Like, they literally hate America. They literally want to destroy it. Literally.
We're not talking about reasonable people, but you got to make the case, because these young people are showing up to vote. And the college educated, I know there were some headlines about us talking about the other day, but these college educated people have been indoctrinated, and they're not rational. They don't understand the markets. They don't understand any of that. They understand this new world order, and they're voting for this as well. So we got to start focusing back on the college campuses again.
And some are framing this as sort of a east to west.
I want to show you guys something with this that I like to bring up. Let me see if it's here. Here it is. Now, you know how he said we have to focus on the college campuses, right? All right. Let me see if I can do something here. It's been a little hard for me to switch this up, but I want to try and show you something here. Can I show an image file like this? Can you guys see this? Oh my God, I can't make it. I can't make it larger, can I? How about that? You guys see that? Now I want to show you, right? I reordered this from most to least. College, this is Confucius and universities. That's where they're spending $2 to $6 billion. Qatar, $4 to $6 billion. Like, let's even lowball it. Saudi Arabia, 4.9. They don't even fuck around with it. $4.9 billion in universities, NGOs, and PR. That's public relations. That means news stations, articles, getting favorable pieces, buying a whole bunch of ads in a network like Payola. You buy a whole bunch of ads in a place, right? And then so all of a sudden that station is very favorable to you, right? So you got to see where the spending is going. Like right there, this is just lobbying. Like this is literally lobbying. You see this? Oh, you guys probably can't see my mouse. I don't think you can see my mouse. But in Saudi Arabia, you know that 310 million? If you look at that row, right? At that column where it says 310 million from Saudi Arabia, that's lobbying. You see from Qatar, 256 million, that's Farah lobbying. China, 457 million, Farah lobbying. That's lobbying. Now let's look at Israel. They got 0.7 in lobbying. They got an APAC lobby, but that's still less than 100 million. Like they got 95.7 total. Very little. Look at the total on Saudi Arabia between lobbying and NGOs. 4.2 billion. Qatar of between 5 and 7. So let's put it at 6. China, because they got so much in the lobby, they put it at between, let's put it at 5. Let's put it at 5 billion, just to be like, guesstimate safe, because they're really shiesty, or I don't know if that's the right word. They hide stuff, right? So I want you to look at this so you can see that when these people are talking about the universities, they're talking about this. This is what they're talking about. Okay? I'll add this and go back to, is this right? Oh my God, am I doing this right? Here it is. There we go.
Wave. It's not. It is.
Yeah.
And some are framing this as sort of a east to west wave. It's not. It is a tide rising all around us. These candidates have been erupting, have been fomenting all across the country. You're absolutely right. Starting with college campuses, city councils, mayors, district attorneys, etc. So they are all around you. They are all around us, and it is abjectly frightening. Who is representing people of America?
So I want to thank Spencer Pratt for that. Now, there's one last video I want to do. I've never seen this guy before. Never seen this guy. Don't know him from diddly. I just found this right now because I just want to make sure that I do right by you guys, and I put something out here on Zohran. So here we go. I don't know this guy from Jack.
Once you see this,
but apparently there's an interview that exposes Zohran Mamdani as a total fraud.
you will not be able to unsee it. This interview exposed the Democratic Socialists of America.
There's been a lot of attention. One of the candidates you supported who won, who knocked off an incumbent Democrat, is Darlisa Villa-Chevalier.
Yes, we went over this. Like one of the first broadcasts that we did was going into this person's history. She's like an organizer.
She said some very controversial things.
That's how you know him. The one with the microphone and the loudspeaker. That's always your organizer. That's the person getting paid by the NGO, and she'll have an employee that's handing out a whole bunch of pickets that all look the same. Usually a TDS sounding picket sign.
Things, including calling for the abolition of prisons. Couldn't say whether or not somebody who had committed murder should be in prison.
Yeah, like this is what we're asking. Why are you backing this person?
Called for open borders against all deportations, including those of violent criminals.
So murderers shouldn't be in prison. No borders at all. What could go wrong?
What could go wrong? Okay, I'm liking this guy.
You can't
so far.
make it up. Surely that's not actually what these guys are calling for. Let's see how he responds.
Are those positions that the Democratic Party could win on nationally?
I think what the Democratic Party can win on nationally is a focus on working people.
Well, we're focusing on working people. That's all he says here.
She would talk about how we have to invest in
Oh, so don't focus. Don't look over there. Unfocus over there. Focus over here. So he's not denying anything.
babies, not bombs.
You know, invest in babies, not bombs. What
anchor babies? What are you talking about here?
What does that mean? Everyone claims that their policies will benefit working people. That's not an argument. And this is the illusion.
But how does abolishing prisons or having open borders fit into that? I mean, do you see?
Yeah, how does that fit in? How does abolishing prisons help the workers? How does that?
Yeah, those are ideas that a lot of your Democrats that are warning about what happened here say are toxic.
Even the guy interviewing him, a mainstream journalist, even he,
ABC, bro. ABC is not like, Fox. Far from it.
He is shocked by what he's hearing. Surely you don't believe this stuff.
Most of America won't go along with it. Are bad ideas. They're dangerous ideas.
I think what the focus of her race was, what the focus of her candidacy was about the struggle that working people are facing.
And he just
so you're just going to deny what he just told you what was being talked about and reframe what the focus was of her campaign. You're not denying anything.
Is working people again. That's all he can say.
So we can disagree on something as basic as whether or not there should be prisons? That's not your position.
There are prisons,
yes.
And what we're also showing in this city is that safety is not something that's up for debate. It's something that we're actually delivering on.
In order to avoid...
Okay, so he's sidestepping.
Contending with it, he claims it's not up for debate. We're just going to deliver on it. What are you delivering? Please, just explain it simply to me. What is democratic socialism?
For a lot of people who ask themselves, what does democratic socialism mean? And you can tell them the answer at a theoretical level. It's the choice to extend democracy from the ballot box the rest of their lives. But
what does that mean? Extending democracy from the ballot box to the rest of my life.
What?
Explain it simply to me. What is democratic socialism?
And for a lot of people who ask themselves, what does democratic socialism mean? And you can tell them the answer at a theoretical level. It's the choice to extend democracy from the ballot box the rest of their lives.
Extend democracy from the ballot box to the rest of my life. What the fuck does that mean? I'm gonna vote. I'm gonna vote on breakfast. What am I gonna like between my left brain and my right brain? What the fuck does this even mean?
But what does that mean? Extending democracy from the ballot box to the rest of my life. That doesn't mean anything.
You got to have something you are not just willing to stand up for, but that you're also willing to explain how this is relevant to working people.
Good.
Okay. Explain.
Good. Tell me. Explain it to me, please.
I'm not interested in writing a manifesto or frankly in reading one. I'm interested in delivering. And that's exactly what we've been showing.
But he didn't fucking say.
What are you delivering though? Please, no, just write it out. What makes you a socialist specifically? Because I don't understand how
they love that word game.
How we can have both.
But they're saying that if you're a socialist, you're not a Democrat. I mean, is there room in the party for both of these views?
Yes.
You can't just say yes. I mean, you got to expand on it a little bit.
Yes. So, does it have to stand firmly for these ideas that you're talking about that others are calling dangerous?
I think it has to stand for working people.
We got...
Okay. He keeps saying working people like it's a magic word. Like it's that flashy thing in fucking Men in Black.
The working people part. I got that. That's the third time you've mentioned it. Try someone else. Maybe we can get a better answer.
Because another co-founder that you guys have, Gustavo Gordia, said that you guys are he admitted that you're using the infrastructure that the party has set up for ballot access. And that's what you're doing. Is that fair to say that that's what you're doing? You're not actually Democrats. You're using the process that's already in place to gain power.
Well, we would ask everybody, including voters of the Democratic Party, of what are Democrats?
Okay, so we would ask what is a Democrat because they don't know?
All right. Sounds like postmodernism.
DSA is also on the record.
It does sound like postmodernism.
Talking about the need to defund the police and freedom for all incarcerated people. Do you believe in anybody being incarcerated for any kind of crime?
Amazing. Like I can say what I feel personally. I think there for sure is violent crime or things that are really atrocious things that happen that I mean for sure in the near term or foreseeable future, I think there is a need to keep that in check.
He's not talking about jails. There is a need to keep that in check. He's still not talking about, yeah, no, we need jails.
I think there is a lot of lower level crime.
Yeah, how do you keep that in check?
Without incarceration, how do you keep murderers from murdering people?
In the near term. So he's saying like there's a different goal at the far term.
He's going to point to, well, there's a lot of lower level crime. Sometimes there's too much enforcement on lower level crime. And that's all he says. He just leaves it there, lower level crime.
I think that there is so much low-level crime that our current system just goes after people for things like jumping a turnstile in a subway station or
bullshit. Y'all letting murderers and rapists go.
Or somebody having a mental health episode.
Okay.
Mental health episode usually means murdering or raping someone.
But do you think that murderers should be put in prison? Do you think that
murderers should be put in prison? That's a simple question. I think I know who this guy is. I think he's a reactor. Okay, I'm gonna confession time. I love reactions. Sometimes I like watching political reactions. I think this guy's a reactor.
Murderers should be put in prison, incarcerated, or no?
I'm okay with that. I think that things that are
I'm okay with that, right? Just listen to how this dude struggles to answer.
Okay, I remember that guy's voice. Yes, he's like a black conservative, I think is his channel. Yes.
Basic common sense questions.
Now, this woman is smarter than the previous guy. She's not going to let this go.
Low-level crime that should not have police responding by shooting a teenager who jumps their turnstile.
Okay, so now he's making up a scenario. When was this police shooting someone over a turnstile? When did that happen?
Or who is having a mental health episode and is
a mental health episode like killing and raping people?
Shot by police.
The third time he's done it, pointing to low-level crime again. But what about people that are murdering people? What about serious crimes?
Crime has actually gone down in the past few months.
Oh, now you're changing the subject.
Once that Zohran Mamdani has been mayor.
Oh, it's gone down because you stopped counting. Jesus Christ. If you stop counting, stop arresting, there's going to be less crime on the books.
And is starting to enact the policies that he campaigned on.
Well,
so
when
things
you don't
that,
arrest
the top
anybody
demands that he campaigned
and you
on
don't
were
put this crime stats in, of course, it looks like crime went down. I want to get to this with you before we go.
See how he laughs, kind of smiles like, oh, she got me.
She's just looking at him like, you are so full of crap.
Well, I would focus on the demands that he campaigned on, which were universal child care, freezing the rent, and
changing subjects.
Fast and free buses. Just in the past 48 hours.
Well, yeah, the buses are not happening.
Freezing the rent. The freezing the rent just happened. That's one of the top three demands just happened. The buses, that requires state funding.
See how he's sidestepping?
That requires city funding. So that's not a one and done. He doesn't have the legislature to do that right away, but we're organizing.
Yes, I would love free childcare. I would love
change how crime is tracked. That's exactly what they did, Texas. That's exactly what they did. Thank you.
Of free transportation. Okay, but how are you going to do that? There's never any mention of that.
Muhammad says, DSA are the biggest threat to America, bigger than the revolutionary communists, bigger than the technocratic feudalist. Okay, I want to explain why he's right. It's because they're gaining political power.
New candidate for New York 13, Ms. Chevalier. She was part of a group on campus, a divestment group. And that group believes in, quote, nothing short of the total collapse of the structure of the American empire itself. Our goal is to eradicate Western civilization, to undermine and eradicate America.
The
eradication of America, huh?
Of Western civilization. What could go wrong?
We act in full support of the Palestinian.
Okay, I'm going to share this guy. This guy seems cool. He already got me. He got me to subscribe. This guy is cool. I was trying to find a video on the Mamdani side because we went over the Spencer Pratt side. Like I wanted to have that dichotomy. I started with the Dan Smoot video. We went over why we are actually a republic, not a democracy, and definitely not communism, right? So, I teased it in with that thumbnail, but I wanted to bring it down to like home basics. So one of the things that I want to do with this, American Politics channel is get into what we really are and like some realities here. So we do get into some longer videos. We went into the Revolutionary War. We went into the Barbary Pirates. And, we went in with Dan Smoot into why we are a republic, not a democracy, right? But now that we got into that Spencer Pratt video talking about fraud, I'm glad that we also went into Mamdani. I kind of had to, because that was what I kind of promised with the thumbnail. But this kind of proves that these people are full of shit and they're just smooth talkers, sidesteppers. They're just talking shit.
Resistance and believe in unrest and violence in America.
Oh, getting praise from Texas. Monkey is speaking my love language. You talk about Dan Smoot. You know who Dan Smoot is? That guy's on the ball, or was. I mean, probably his legacy will live on forever.
Are those ideas that the DSA also endorses?
No, I don't think I would endorse that language. I think we are.
He wouldn't endorse the language. Doesn't mean he doesn't endorse the idea.
Are about expanding democracy in every part of our lives.
It's about expanding democracy.
Oh, well, you should check out this Dan Smoot video we did. Oh my God, do I still got it? Okay, this is a really cool video. I'm going to put it in the link just for you, Texas. You've probably seen it before, right? Okay. It kind of looks like it's black and white. And this guy is very serious, says, America is not a democracy. It's a constitutional republic. And he kind of goes into, like, I'm trying to imitate the voice, right? But he kind of goes into it,
From the ballot box to the rest of your life. It's literally like they have practiced these talking points because
yeah, it's just literally like a script. This is why we call them NPCs. This is literally why we call them NPCs. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Now, these communists have very communistic traits. Like one of the traits of the communist, it's that equality for you, more money for me. The Communist City Council in New York City voted to give themselves an 18% raise. Oh my God. This year with automatic raise each year. What? But have no funding for the free buses. Oh, right. Promises.
he's echoing what we saw with Zohran.
And you can tell them the answer at a theoretical level. It's the choice to extend democracy from the ballot box the rest of their lives.
It's like they pass out these flyers and they all memorize these robots.
This is why we call them NPCs. Like, there's a lot of you, like, I'm a gamer. Like, I've always been a gamer. I've been gaming since the Atari, right? I'm a gamer. That's my thing, right? So an NPC is a non-playable character. What does that mean? You're the main character. You do what you want. You go to these other characters, and that character has a dialogue tree. It can only say what it is programmed to say, right? It can't say anything outside its programming. In more modern games, you get a couple of choices, but at the end of those choices are some predetermined outcomes, right? So that is how they work. They're basically bots. They're basically non-playable characters. They have a dialogue tree, and his dialogue tree is workers and focus on workers and democracy from the ballot box to your everyday life, I think it was.
Robotic sentences in order to evade any real response.
And I'm proud to be the mayor of a city that currently has the lowest recorded number of murders and shootings in recorded
You see how he keeps repeating recorded
history.
Well,
So
when you
things
don't
That's kind of like snitching on himself.
arrest
the top
anybody
demands that he
and
campaigned
you
on
don't
were
put this crime stats in, of course, it looks like crime went down. I want to get to this with you.
And she knows that. So now she gets specific about the unintended consequences that come with all of this.
But in terms of the specifics of the freezing the rent, what about the fact that when we've seen this happen before, first, the taxpayers, the billionaires, the companies that pay for these taxpayer-funded services are leaving New York in droves. And when you freeze the rent, landlords no longer have money to improve the facilities that they own, and therefore things fall apart. And then also people aren't going to invest in new housing, so it squeezes the supply and ultimately actually increases housing costs. So how is that good for the working class?
He can't answer. He's got nothing. He's either never thought of it or doesn't care. There's something that I want to show you guys. It's called I think it's called the Cloward-Piven strategy. I'm going to see if I can find it. Because you guys might not be aware of it, but I want to show it to you guys. How do I change what I'm showing? Nope, that's not it. Okay. Can I change which tab? Stop screen sharing. Okay. Let me just remove this one. It's not, I don't know how he does this. Okay. All right, here we go. Okay. The Cloward-Piven strategy is a political strategy outlined in 1966 by American sociologist and political activist Richard Cloward and Francis Fox Piven. The strategy aims to utilize militant anti-poverty groups to facilitate a political crisis by overloading the welfare system via increase in welfare claims, like doing that to illegals, forcing the creation of a system with guaranteed minimum income, that's UBI, redistributing the income through the federal government. This is like, look, the way to get to socialism, you can't do it by the ballot. That's not going to work. We're just going to overload the system with social beneficiaries and social programs. They were both Columbia University. All right, I don't think it outlined in The Nation magazine. The fierce and joyous La Resistencia. Okay, so they were like, see, Los Angeles. So yeah. Cloward-Piven articles focused on Democratic Party, which in 1966 controlled the presidency and both houses of the United States Congress to redistribute the income to help the poor. They stated that the full enrollment of those eligible for welfare would produce bureaucratic disruption in the welfare agencies and fiscal disruption in local and state governments. That would deepen existing divisions among elements in the big city Democrat coalition, the remaining white middle class, the working class, and ethnic groups and minority groups. Like they wanted these people divided to avoid further weakening of the historic coalition, because this was a coalition they had. A national Democratic administration would be constrained to advance federal solutions, like to keep these people together. The only solution the Democrats would have is federal solutions, right? That would overwrite the local welfare failures, because welfare was more local in those days. Local class and radical conflict and local revenue dilemmas, right? The ultimate objective of this strategy is to wipe out poverty by establishing a guaranteed annual income, because the ideal individual social and economic mobility has deep roots. Even activists seem reluctant to call for national programs to eliminate poverty by outright redistribution of income. They think that they could get it on the Democrats because the conservatives were always ready to declaim evils of public, declaim or reclaim, like basically say that this is evil, and they would probably be the first to raise hue and cry. So I think what's going on is the Cloward Piven strategy, right? And that they're trying to overload the system until like a more left-wing government has to come, because you have to satisfy the needs of all these voters, and everything is so expensive that they can't do it on their own. You guys get where I'm going with this? Is this making sense to you? Sounds about right. All right. Let's get back to the interview.
His only response is, it's already screwed up, so don't worry about any of that.
I think if you just said what you did to most renters in a city like New York or Washington, D.C., they would say, already our buildings are in disrepair. Already our landlords are not
because there's
held
lots of
accountable
government
to the
already.
No, I mean, the cost of living, the cost of rent is going up in major cities all over the country because there's been so much deregulation. There's been totally unchecked, unlicensed.
Like regulation increases prices. It doesn't lower them. Like if I can get a fix that works at a lower price, but I have to do this regulated thing, I mean, it might make things more expensive. Sometimes regulations are put in by interest groups that are in league with the government. What you have there is that's not laissez-faire, that's crony. What you're doing is cronyism. You're getting this one company to get their paws into a government and say, hey, make my type of thing regulation. Hey, you know what? Hey, come over here. You know what I invented? Check this out. Check this out. I got an invention that's cheap and you can sell it, right? You can like I'll cut you in, right? I got this invention, and what we'll do is I'll donate to your campaign hardcore. I'll go in the lobby. I'll get other people to do it. I'll donate to NGOs that are going to just basically try to prop you up. All you got to do is back my invention. Is it a good invention? No, it's kind of stupid, but I think you can sell it. All right, tell me what your stupid invention is and how I'm going to get rich off it. How am I going to mandate with regulations this stupid thing you invented? Check this out. Check this out. Paper straws. Get the fuck out of here. That's ridiculous. Now think about it. Look at these pictures. I got these pictures of these turtles, right? Oh my God. What is that? Like 1 in a million shot, right? But you know what? I already had this kind of in the works, right? They're usually made for candy. You store candy in there and you break off the top and you eat the candy inside, right? But I was thinking, candy's expensive. Can't I just sell it like a straw? I saw this. I think we can work together on it, right? You love hugging trees. These will get trees cut down, but fuck it. With the turtle picture right here, we're going to say plastic straws around. Huge problem. And you sure you're going to get me that money? You're going to get me that campaign money? Yes, 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 of course. You're going to have some cash envelopes for me? Of course. You're going to donate to the NGOs? You got my Act Blue money? I got your Act Blue money, homie. All right, let's do it. Yeah, no, I'm mandating paper straws. You understand how it works? So when they say like, no, I mean, there's too much deregulation, it's because some of the regulation is some retarded shit that some crony of the government got placed in there. That's not anti-big corporation. That's sometimes regulations are pro-big corporation. They're just like a limit to competition. Like if you could compete, if you could make a fair competition between the paper straw and the plastic straw, who the fuck you think is going to win? Texas troops spitting facts here, and paper straws suck. Not well, they just suck. Yes. Yes.
In some places,
Did
development
you say there's been
that real estate
deregulation in New
developers are
York?
able to do.
Wow.
There's been no deregulation
I think
in New York.
that's been the pattern.
deregulation in New York is not true. Oh,
There's been it's gotten more and more deregulated, more and more. The cost of rent.
She's like, no.
Has not been kept level. It's going up. In recent years, something like
She's like, you're lying.
third of all apartments in Manhattan were unoccupied, just owned by people who might be foreign investors, Russian or
well, there's a lot
Arab
of
or
investors
Chinese
who are middle
oligarchs,
class, like in the Bronx and the Queens, who own a second property that they rent out, and they're middle class, and now they're unable to make repairs or increase the price on their business as a result of the rent freezing. So that
she's just spitting facts. I like
certainly
this lady.
affects working
I don't
class
know who
people.
this
I want to
lady
get
is,
to
but
this.
I like her.
I think that's also a question of wages, like the cost of wages should be going.
Oh, right. The cost of wages could be going up. So you're going to raise the minimum wage so that only Walmart can hire people, and that corner bakery has to fire 30 people because they can't afford the wages of their employees or cut their hours.
Going up for everybody when
Well,
there's
you can't
inflation happening across the board.
Yeah, but you know why we have.
You see how he keeps she like she's trying to keep him on track, but he keeps jumping subjects.
Inflation. We have inflation because the government has spent too much money and devalued the dollar.
And she's just kind of speaking to him like a small child.
Yes, she is. Like, look, he's like all neck, all ears, no brain. It's like the Hassan meme of small head. See what I'm saying? Like, you got to look at the head to neck ratio and ear ratio. You see, like there's not a whole lot here, right? And even then, like what is the brain? Like, I don't see it, man. This guy's. I don't think there's a brain up there. Look, this guy won me over. I'm putting this video here. I'm not gonna show you the end. You want that ending of that video, you go to see this guy, Warren Smith, Secret Scholar Society. Good fucking work here. I like this video. I'm gonna put it here for you guys so you guys can see it, right? So you guys can get the video and the channel. There's the channel. I appreciate you guys. That's all for me. Bless you all. Bless your health. Bless your wealth. Bless your plans, bless your home, your family, your loved ones, and everything you touch. That's all for me now. Peace.